Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the start. I will soon join the Australian Broadcasting Corporation for the Grandstand call on national radio. In the meantime, I thought we would have a quick look at some of the conditions. This is from our adventurer Pill, thanks to Cronulla Sailing Club.
Yeah, g'day Nick. We're still out at Cape Bailey. We're out to the most eastern point now by the lighthouse. Breeze again is still very consistently south, 180 degrees true, dead south. It's come and gone a little, but right now we're back up to about a solid 20 knots. The sea state is definitely coming up. Having done a few Sydney to Hobarts, I can tell you the boys are going to be a bit uncomfortable and a bit cold and a bit wet tonight, but all the best to everyone out there, and this is me signing off from Cronulla.
A massive thanks to Pill and all at the Cronulla Sailing Club for their support of Adventures of a Sailor Girl. We really, really appreciate it. On the water, we have the adventurer Andrew. He is going to give us a preview from out right near the start. Oh, not such a good preview there, but we'll come back to you very shortly. So it's only 2 minutes to go until the start. We will cross to the ABC very, very shortly. We'll keep you posted on that. And we will cross to Andrew in just 1 minute to give us the vibe out on the water. I'm masked up. We're all taking care of one another here to make sure that we can head on into Hobart as soon as possible. 86 yacht fleet now. There you go. We just heard the update from the channel, the broadcast there across the radio comms, so important to keep listening to that, everybody, and lovely to have you here with us. If you want to watch the official broadcast, feel free to switch over to channel 7. Otherwise, we're loving having you here, and we're going to tune in about a minute and a half over to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. I'm going to go jump on the line in just 1 minute, but let's get an update from the racetrack with our adventurer Andrew, who's out there and ready to go. We'll see if we can cross to him in just 1 second. Here we go. Oh, come on, are you there? We got him.
Not long to go now on Sydney Harbour. Southerly has filled in. It's still quite puffy, but we'll see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting race out of the heads, I think. A lot of boats lining up each side of the start. The vibe is, maybe a little bit down on some Hobart's Pass, but it's still very, very much building the excitement around the race. All of the boats going out, running through their last sort of preparations and going through their paces a little bit. Really going to be something quite exciting, I think. As we come out, something a little bit different. I think strategy's really going to come into play, especially with these big boats really sort of going for that drag out the heads and for those.
Excellent. We are crossing now to, ladies and gentlemen, the ABC, and we're coming into the start gun out on the legend. Absolutely awesome. He's trying to look at history from the start, from the chopper. There goes the start gun, the 75th edition of the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. Scallywag over Lewis, fantastic to see. Trying to get eyeballs onto these when they're all trying to go for this. Now, Ichiman up to win, but all connect there. Absolutely blasting. Road Zero out and looking good. 20 seconds through already. There's the 3 start lines. You can see on the aerial view so good. There's 4 start lines today, in fact. Excellent. We're just going to tilt this back a bit and get the mic right in front of my face. We're still waiting for a crossing. Looking at you good. Up to Scallywag. Blackjack is right in Scallywag's gap. It looks like racing had a big trouble start. You were only about midway down the line. They're off to the line. That's going to be but off there has done brilliantly. They've actually got all the Scallywag and Blackjack under control here. Beautiful work there. Just waiting to cross to ABC in just 1 minute. Give me 1 second, ladies and gents. Ooh, I've even got permission to take my mask off, which is very, very exciting. As we see these maxis heading out the harbour, still waiting for the cross to ABC, but Scallywag leads at the moment. Law Connect will be a bit cranky if they can't lead out the heads. That is Christian Beck's favourite thing to do. And welcome to Goggle Boxes.
Once they go through the heads, on the breeze, these sails won't be any use at all. They are flying down. And to give you an idea, dead ahead of them is Manly as to what they're heading towards, and then they'll make the first right turn.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's so good to be here, though. We're missing you here at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. Very different vibe this year due to COVID, but everyone's excited and the race is away. Scallywag currently leading the way towards the heads.
Scallywag's running away well. That is a handy little lead. What do they expect
I'm so pumped, and I can tell you that sailing really is such a community, and for us, actually having this race go ahead, I think is a sign of hope that things may become a little bit more normal. As I see Scallywag leading Blackjack, Law Connect, and Stefan Hare towards the heads. That's the first race of 3 that we have in the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. There's the race out the heads, there's a race down the east coast of Australia, and then of course there's a race up the Derwent when we get to see you in Hobart.
Just let a vet do a job, please. Attention on your RM. Speaking 2 minutes after the start, that was a fucking joy. Jason Whitehouse on board. Super nervous at the 2016 games. Semi Jarvin on the left.
Oh, absolutely. I think you can say, quite honestly, that there's basically nothing between these 3 maxis. They'll all have points in the race that will favour them. So it all comes down to who manages those conditions the best, and that's what sailing is all about. Who can go the fastest, the longest? I know that seems quite simple, but it really isn't. When these boats come out of Sydney Heads, they may well head east for a good 4 to 6 hours, depending on when the southerly starts to trend eastward, and then we'll see them tack over into port and hopefully have some tight reaching. But given that it's going to be quite strong offshore, we're going to see 18 to 20 knots, maybe up to 25 knots in the puffs. These boats really need to, we say, protect the asset into the first night so that they actually have a chance of finishing. You can't win the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race if you don't finish.
Sprint race between these 3. Law Connect, Blackjack, and Scallywag. That's the first turning mark, just at the middle of the screen, bottom there.
Well, essentially, it means that these yachts have to find a happy balance. They need to be able to race these yachts to their limits whilst also not breaking them. I mean, if you think about a horse race, Chris, it's the thing that I can compare it to. These sailors are the jockey riding the horse. They need to protect the horse to make sure that they get all the way to Hobart. So the wind will also be against the current overnight. So it's a southerly going current, but a southerly breeze. So the boats are heading against the wind and with the current, which actually speeds up the apparent wind. So it will be a lot nastier than you think. If you're driving down a freeway and you put your hand out the window, you can feel the wind that's created just from your momentum. So when these boats are absolutely hurtling down towards the coast, they will actually gain into that southerly. As we see these boats start to go around the first turning mark, Scallywag is leading, I believe, from Blackjack and then Law Connect. Looking to see where Stefan Hare is. They had a great start, as did URM, but it is Scallywag that leads around the first turning mark. David Witt will be very happy with that. He tried to say that he wouldn't be the favourite, Chris, But I think at the moment, all of the eyes are on him. He does have a refit at the moment, Chris, which means he's ready for the breeze to be a little bit windier than others seem to be set up for. We often say in sailing that you're better off depowering earlier, and it looks like they're set and ready to go offshore now. We'll see them basically on this tack now for 4 hours. We can wave to them as they go onward to the horizon.
So caution was the best way to get it done early, get it down and tidy. See how much blackjacks have to come to leeward. They still haven't filled that sail. The next round will be Stephen racing, I think, with purple hull. Blackjack's still trying to get this sail furled. It's a slow furl. Mark Bradford, the skipper. Very, very experienced crew. Adam Leisure on board from the famous Leisure sailing family. Anthony Mosser, Olivia, Will McCarthy, Erica Snobs, Bowers, crew member rather.
Yeah, no, it's 11. I mean, it's been a tough year for everyone, I think, globally in regards to COVID. But the Oatley family have quite a few businesses, and of course, it's been very, very tough on their staff. So they felt that going and sailing a yacht race may not be the best thing for them to do at this time. So Wild Oats 11, the campaign is not over. They will be back. They're just trying to show respect for everybody that's involved with their businesses this year. Comanche was actually sold after the end of the 2019 race. It won line honours with skipper Jim Cooney, and then it was passed on to a Russian owner. So it actually won the Rolex Middle Sea race overall and on line honours this year, which is quite a feat, but under the new owner. But a lot of the crew that were on board for that 2019 line honours win were on board for the Rolex Middle Sea race. It's a very specific yacht, as we see. And also Alive, the RP66 go around that turning mark from Tasmania. The RP66 Alive did win the race in 2018. They managed to just beat the all-female crew of Ocean Respect Racing on Wild Oats 10. So there you go, it all ties in. For the Oatley family, we have to give them a shout out for everything that they've done for yachting, even though they're not here. They did take part in the Big Boat Race, which was a lead-up event to this series. So yeah, definitely a shout out to the Oatley family today. But URM is just about to come around the mark as well. And oh gosh, a lot of shouting on board actually that I can hear. So it's obviously quite tense out there. And speaking of shouting, it looked like Blackjack didn't have the best rounding. So they actually ended up quite a long way down to leeward of Scallywag. So I would say that Law Connect is in second as they do head out of the heads, Chris. Yes, some stern words, some shouting. Essentially what's happened here is I think their halyard got stuck by the look of it. There was a bit of a jam in that halyard, so a late drop there, and they've struggled to make a clean rounding, and they will be quite a long way down to leeward. Very similar to what we saw happen with Blackjack, though Blackjack doesn't have an onboard camera, so we missed that. But this team on URM, they'll now head offshore. They've got a team that you can see of Vet Heritage is on the back. She's an incredibly talented tactician, so a shout out to her, and she sails skiffs, but there's a lot of sailors that sail 18-foot skiffs on URM. There's a father-son duo as well, Sevi Jarvan, who has won the JJ Gilson, I believe, 8 times. He is on board, and so is his father, Steve Lothy Jarvan, who has actually done every single Hobart with Wild Oats 11 up to this point, so he's won quite a few himself, but this is the first that they'll do together.
Podcast, the 2021 Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race is brought to you by Big Mac. Now with crispy bacon, together and loving it. Hobart Norman, the summer sizzle office installed.
I did.
Australia's world-class luxury motor yachts. And the luxury collection. Hotels that define their destination.
Yeah, it's a real shame, Chris, as you mentioned. We've seen 4 teams pull out of the race this morning. Maverick 49 for reasons not disclosed. Willow, Jim Cooney said there's been a number of positive cases, so it's just not worth. They could find replacements, but it's just not worth putting the crew at risk or Tasmanians at risk. You know, we want to make sure that we're keeping everyone as safe as possible as part of this race. But unfortunate for his son, in particular, Doug, who was looking forward to doing his first yacht race, his first Rolex Sydney Hobart yacht race last year. It was for that. You can't actually do the yacht race until you're 18. He was 18 last year. He missed out due to COVID. He was so excited to go this year, as he's now 19, but unfortunately he may have to wait until he's 20. So it's really sad to see that team's had to pull out. We've had 2 other boats withdraw as well, one due to injury and another due to COVID this morning. So that leaves the fleet at 89 yachts, but I do believe that some others may have pulled out before the start. I can actually see one here at the dock, Chris, that isn't on our list of having pulled out, but hull number 90. I'm actually going to have a little bit of a look now for you. They're definitely still here on the dock, and that is Protagonist. They've also pulled out, and I believe that's due to a COVID case too. So it's very sad for anybody who's put in this much effort. If you can imagine, shipping your yacht around the world. They don't ship their yachts, Chris. They're actually sailing them for something like the Rolex Sydney Hobart. So yachts that have come from Tasmania or from Victoria, they've got to deliver them. So it's quite a lot of time and cost that's been invested, not just this year, but also last year for the race not to happen.
Hungry Jack's new burger bundles just $39.95. Fall in love with the big, crunchy, juicy chicken. Get 2 classic takeaway chicken burgers, 2 Whopper cheese, 4 small drinks and chips, and 10 nuggets in the $39.95 burger bundle. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Harvey Norman's Super Summer Sizzlers. A massive 60% off glam Italian-made tapware by Armando Vicario. The stylish Corona Lunafactor Ultimate Suite. On price just $489. Many more offers at Harvey Norman now.
Yeah, Chris, I think, everybody said the new normal, but it is definitely the new normal here for this Hobart. I did a dock walk this morning, and I could actually do a dock walk. There were no massive crowds here on the dock because everybody's being cautious. I've just taken my mask off for the first time today, essentially, to talk to you when not isolated on the veranda outside. So it's definitely a different world, I think, on the dock in Hobart, of course. We are going to be incredibly careful. The sailors will be tested there as well. I'm still awaiting my COVID test to come back. I was tested on Christmas Eve, as I'm flying tomorrow morning, hopefully to come and visit you all. But I think that given the amount of sacrifices that have been made from everybody, and not just sailors, I'm saying everybody over the past 18 months, it would be silly at this point to not put safety first. And as sailors, we always say safety first, and COVID is now just one of those other boxes that we have to tick to be able to do this race. I always say that maybe sailors should have a master's in logistics for how we're able to put everything together, and we're quite a resilient bunch. So maybe it will make us better ocean racers for the COVID pandemic as well, Chris. I'm not sure.
Very good crew on Scallywag under David Whitney, Alvin Pratt, Barry Jamison, Luke Parkinson, Phil Harmer, all solid round the world sailors.
Back to no limit inside the harbour.
No.
At the first turning mark.
It's busy.
That's Celestial. Sam Haynes, he's been third in this race a few years ago in a different boat with the same name, Celestial. Richie Barn doing pulling off a very tricky manoeuvre. They've got the job done there, so they're giving a bit of a start to the other TP52s. But a long way to go. Best Quest. She's next round, the number 12.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm just watching all the TP52s come around. They've come around 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It was Smuggler first, followed by Celestial, then Ishiban. Then it was Quest, who actually won quite a number of years ago as Quest, and then once again as Balance. So, and then Guelo. So they've literally all gone around top and tail, which is, it's just fantastic racing with the TP52 class. They will have a shot, definitely, but as many of the sailors have said that I've interviewed this year ahead of the race, they won't have a, in inverted commas, get out of jail free card for this race. Their handicap has been well suited to the conditions that we've seen in the past few years of those easterly runs. I mean, this is the first Spinnaker start we've seen in quite a while. Chris, as we see Blackjack starting to go around the second mark, but it was Scallywag, Law Connect, and then Blackjack. The easterly conditions that we've seen over the past few editions, and we've seen record broken year after year after year, they really favour the TP52s because, my goodness, they fly when they've got a Spinnaker up. The beating conditions and the difference that we will see between the front boats to the medium range is actually condensed when they're going upwind to start with. So it could well be a 40-foot boat race, or even smaller. Maybe the SNS, Shimatsu Azuro, will do quite well. That boat in particular, it may have more favourable conditions when they're coming down the coast of Tasmania. So that's why I say it's important to have those 3 sections of the race mapped out. We're just coming towards the end of the race out of the harbour, but then we have the race down the coast of Australia, and in the southerly, once they get to the end of that southerly in probably 24 to 36 hours time, there's a really tricky period of about 8 hours when they're off the coast of Tasmania, where they're going to have to join the dots, so to speak. And they'll see easterlies, potentially sea breezes down the coast of Tasmania. So then that's really going to depend, well, that's really going to be what makes this race, Chris. Who can actually join the dots the best, find the best pressure, whether that's inshore or offshore, staying out of the current. We'll just have to wait and see, as we do every year. And then, of course, you have to arrive to the Derwent at the right time. If you arrive at the wrong time, and I'm sure that anybody in Tasmania who's listening now, you know that sometimes the Derwent just shuts down and there's absolutely no wind. And if that happens and a boat has done everything perfectly, there's nothing they can do but wait until there is breeze for them to sail on into Hobart. So, you know, I don't think that I can pick who's going to win at this point, but I think that I can say that it's going to be a 50 downwards shaped boat at the moment, the way that it's looking, depending on how well these maxis can get through the night.
So your connect now moving into her work very nicely. They'll be very happy with this. See the bumpy water. She's a big, heavy, wide boat, thriving in these conditions. 95 there is Zara. Lovely old catch with the 1974 on the Choi Lee Yard in China on the very first Hobart race.
Skipped by John Griffin.
Oh, here's O'Reilly, David Parks.
Oh, I can see some messy spinnaker action happening. Do you know what though? I remember in 2012 a very similar situation to that, watching Quest with a spinnaker who I just saw is just behind Ichiban, watching Quest with their spinnaker stuck up their mast in a southerly start. And I think that's the last time I remember a southerly start. They ended up sailing all the way down into Manly with their spinnaker up. They had to cut the halyard, and then they turned around and managed to find a different route to Hobart. You know what? They won overall that year. So it's not over for anybody who's having issues at the turning mark. Basically what we're seeing is some boats that have hoisted their spinnakers for the start, they're really struggling to get them back down and away to then head upwind and out to sea. That is basically the aim of the game right now, Chris, is to get your spinnaker away, get around your turning mark dependent on which class you're in, and then to head offshore and get into the southern going current, which, yes, will make it trickier for these boats, but also it will accelerate their path down the east coast. So you can't afford not to go offshore right at the moment.
That started out with sticks and stones. Now the same one looking at it from space. You could also maybe think that this tiny blue dot is extremely fragile. You know, our need to advance our species often comes at the expense of our own. The question is, can we continue our species and preserve our own home while still enjoying that thrill of being human?
Harvey Norman Super Summer Sizzlers. Huge deals on hybrid flooring. Choice of colours from just $38 per square metre.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen who are watching on Facebook or YouTube, thanks for joining us. I'm going to just switch back over to my desk, so give me 1 second, I'll be right with you. Oh my goodness, that was exciting. Nathan, have you ever watched the start of the Sydney Hobart? Here, I'm going to interview you. Not here? Not here. I don't know how good's the boat. Nathan's done a great job on tech for the ABC guys today, and he's really hating his office here at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. Excellent. I'll put my mask back on, and I'll just take you guys for a walk. I'm going to go back over here. It's all technology here today, but I love it. Excellent. I'll switch you back into my box here as we go back to here. Excellent. Here we go. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. Very rough out there. So I'm pretty happy that we're not offshore and that we can be enjoying this start together. I hope you enjoyed watching it live wherever you are, and you can of course catch it on the Rolex Sydney Hobart yacht race Facebook page and YouTube if you want to see the full replay. I think that's going to be it from us, but just calling to you that as the boats head offshore, the TV52s were all together lunch, as I just said, on the ABC. Law Connect is just behind Scallywag, followed by Blackjack, which is exactly what we expected in these conditions. And if you want to watch any of the interviews with the amazing skippers that we've managed to catch up with over the past few days, or the navigator from Scallywag who gave us his preview in depth, thank you to Chris Wild, you can find that on YouTube. So thank you to everybody for their support. Thank you to Cronulla Sailing Club for offering to take us offshore. But as I've said previously, it was just too rocky to pull dig and peel that video. Andrew's offshore at the moment. He's experiencing what it's like to be in between the heads in a southerly for the first time. So a big shout out to him, and thank you so much to Musto, Volley, Harkin. Harkin have been brilliant. And we're really looking forward to working with R&R Smith Organic Apple Orchard, as well as Willie Smith's Brewery, whilst we're in Hobart. So that will be just brilliant. And if you want to get a Sail Like a Girl shirt, you can get it on the Sailor Girl shop, sailorgirl.shop. And I think that's all I've got to say. A big shout out to everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy Hobart. And we will keep you posted with as much action as we possibly can over the past few days. Thank you, or over the next few days, past few days. Oh, it's been a big day. Mwah.